Hey everybody, welcome to another video of programming. In this video, it's not a tutorial. I'm just gonna explain what I made. It's like it's called a genetic algorithm. I made another genetic algorithm. Um, I think I explained what that is in my past videos. So this genetic algorithm basically generates some players, the red circles. I think you can see it on the screen, and they basically try to um, dodge all the black balls that are spinning. They're actually not spinning that fast. This is just a time lapse. So yeah, they're not spinning. They're actually moving from side to side, and they actually have to dodge all of them and then make it to the right green rectangle. Okay, so I basically programmed this. I've actually made this actually kind of coming from a game called the Impossible Game. uh, this is like the Impossible Game level 1. This type of like obstacles and stuff. I've actually made this game before, the Impossible Game level 1, and I kind of just like copied some of the code from that, and I had to like remove all the players' um, interaction and everything, and I had to, but I left like all the balls and all the rectangles and everything. So I had to change some stuff from the game, and then I had to generate some players, give them some genes, and the genes, I think I put 25,000 genes. Sorry, 25,000 um, what's it called? Yeah, genes in one DNA, and what's it called? Yeah, so the 25,000 genes, each gene is like a vector that tells the player to move in a random direction. So I basically just gave 25,000 vectors to each player, and they basically just perform those vectors, and then whoever reaches the furthest without getting hit by a ball, they basically uh, they are there in the mating pool more often than someone who died like at the very start. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. As you can see, I'm over here. I was like I was making the score for everything. It was like if the distance is bigger than 0, the score will be 1. The score will be 1, which means that they will be in the mating pool once. Okay, and if the score is like bigger than, I think it was like 600 or something, then they will be in the mating pool 8 times. So like their their um, their vectors made them um, more successful. So they will be in the mating pool more times, which means they will be reproduced. There's a higher chance that they will be reproduced more often. Okay. So I hope that made sense. But yeah, so I'm just coding the next generation function. This function, it actually took a while to make. Because I made some silly mistakes. First, instead of doing I should have, as you can see, I wrote splice before. Yeah, I should have written slice, because splice and slice, they kind of sound similar, but they actually do two different things, but also to an array or an iterable data type. So yeah, so this next generation function, it basically it basically goes through each of the players, and it picks another player random, and then it kind of just like makes it reproduces. Okay, so yeah, it basically does that. That makes sense. Yeah. So it basically reproduces with another player to make another player, like a offspring, and that offspring has the genes of its parents. Maybe some of the maybe the maybe some of the genes are good, maybe some of the genes are bad, but this is called evolution. They basically learn from their past. They not exactly learn, but like they evolve. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's that, and yeah, as you can see, I'm still running the next generation function, and yeah, I made like another algorithm. It's kind of the same, just I yeah, I just wrote it differently. Yeah. So um, what else is? Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I made this program in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Most of it is in JavaScript using the p5.js library. I'll put a link to everything that I say or something like that in the description below. Yeah, so I use some of HTML. I don't think I use too many, but just really less. CSS, probably just like 3 lines. I'll also put the code in the description below. And yeah, so I made it with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript using the p5.js library. Um, yeah, as you can see, I'm still running the next generation function. Yeah. Yeah, and then over time, I started to like I started to test some stuff. I forgot. Yeah. So then it works. I wrote the next generation function, and then I wrote like text to say which generation it is, and after that I also changed the vectors like yeah. And this is like the first try, as you can see. Um, yeah, this generation one, generation two, and then they just fast forward it. Yeah, and then I found out that the average generation of this program was like around 5. Yeah. So yeah, as you can see over here, it's like 32 because I just changed some code. Um, but yeah, so the average generation was like around 5. So I changed some stuff um, like the vector size and stuff like that. So the average generation could be a little higher. I also added some more texts to show more data. For example, the best distance ever, and also the best distance for the last generation. And I think this is the final result. Yeah, this generation 2, and you can see that the best distance ever is 781. That means that they moved from the very left of the canvas 786 pixels to the right. Okay, that's the best distance. And then there's also the best distance in the last generation. Yeah. So as you can see, I guess they're getting better. And if you see some dark circles, the dark circles basically means that there are more of the players over there. Like the density of the players that show up in that area is high. So yeah, so which means that they're actually evolving. And yeah, and then at the end, one player actually makes it, which is pretty good. And then over here, you can see the differences. As you can see in Generation One, they there weren't so many of the red circles or the players in the same place as Generation 8, where there were like much more, which means that they're actually evolving. Okay. Um, yeah, and then over time, Generation 11, they actually made it. Well, not they, just one person. So yeah, and here's some information about the time taken and other stuff. Um, yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I really hope to see you guys in the next video.